Okay, so it's about 9 a.m. in the morning. We're standing outside the Maritime Hotel where the meeting is taking place here, and there's an action going on. I think it's a launch of the new BP logo. I'm standing with Paul Horsman. You're the campaign director of GCCA. Paul, could you tell us a little bit about what's going on here?
Yes, well, we're here to highlight the problem at the Climate Talks here in Bonn, where we're finding that the oil industry, as they have done for many years, are lobbying continually against a good climate deal. What the oil industry has recognized ever since the Climate Convention was signed in 1992 in Rio is that the protecting the climate requires cutting greenhouse gas emissions. The fossil fuel industry are responsible for over 40% of the greenhouse emissions from the use of fossil fuels. So essentially, these are industries that are industries of the 20th century, not the 21st century, and they either have to change into renewable energy, clean energy industries, or they go out of business. And what has been highlighted recently with BP's spill on in the Gulf of Mexico on the southern coast of the United States. I mean, that's pointed out one of the major impacts of the oil industry. Accidents always happen, and as they push the envelope of the technology to try to get even more oil out, the chances of more accidents happening will increase. Instead, what we should be doing is drawing a line. This far and no further. The drill in the Gulf of Mexico was just one drill too far. We have to tell the oil industry the age of oil is over and we're moving into a renewable, clean, sustainable energy age. And the delegates here in Bonn can actually take us along that pathway if they had the courage or the convictions about protecting the climate requires this shift from a dirty energy path to a clean energy pathway.
So Maybuvi, 350.org, you're going to tell us a little bit about the influence of oil in these talks. This is a big action this morning, and a lot of effort gone to make this beautiful banner. What's the point of this campaign?
Well, we're here to point out that BP's role isn't just spewing oil in the Gulf of Mexico. The oil industry has been influencing climate negotiations for years. They do it domestically and they do it here at the UN. Otherwise, if they didn't care about what happened here, they wouldn't have sent the head of BP Germany to the talks. We obtained a copy of the participants list a few days ago and saw that the director of BP Deutsche and their political director are registered to attend here. And so, they see the connection between an international climate agreement and their profits, and we're here to point that out to the delegates. And it's very timely today because last night in the plenary, in the discussions around SUBSTA, the subsidiary body for technology assistance, there was a discussion about preparing a scientific review of reaching an aggressive warming target of reducing global warming pollution to 1.5 degrees. And the Saudi government and the Saudi delegates completely blocked this from going forward after many attempts at reaching compromise. So it's very clear that those countries that are heavily dependent for their profits on oil are really hamstrung in trying to get a real deal made. So we want to point that out today.
And what's the scope for doing something about this? We know in the US now we're gradually seeing people recognise just how kind of gross this oil is. When it's in the atmosphere, it's a bit less difficult to see, and when it's in the oceans, it's very visible. Do you think this might provide the political space necessary to kind of move to a more sustainable and cleaner future?
We certainly hope so, and I think that we're beginning to see a lot of innovative ideas coming out about ending fossil fuel subsidies and transferring that money to investment in renewable energy. So the ideas are there, the policy principles are there. Again, it's about bringing the political will to bear on making those changes. And so that's where our groups come in, doing actions like this, making it clear that we know that this is happening. It's not like the oil industry can pull the wool over our eyes anymore and try and pretend like they're not here. We know they're here. We want to call it out to the rest of the delegates.
Okay, May, thanks for joining us and good luck with the action.